A big haul for the Buckeyes over the weekend in recruiting. Kevin, we'll start with you and Deshaun Stewart, a top 30 safety in the country. He's got a buddy coming with him from DePaul Catholic out of New Jersey.
Yeah, Wayne, New Jersey, big deal there. Getting a couple guys from the same school. Talked to a buddy of mine who covers recruiting in that part of the country, who feels that Deshaun Stewart is criminally underrated. 6'1", 6'2", $185, $190 type of guy, can play multiple positions in the secondary, coming in as a safety, but has been told by Ohio State that they will look at him in multiple positions. Obviously, when you are running a 4-2-5, and we know where the 5 is, that is, having versatility is very important because of the fact of if you can only play one position and the guy ahead of you on the depth chart isn't coming off the field, then what the hell are we doing here? But I think he's a big get. And again, you mentioned his teammates with Desi Jones, Dez, and I see him as the natural answer to the decommitment of Jevin Boggs, the kid out of Cocoa, Florida. People are going to be concerned that, well, does this mean that Ohio State is less confident in Jamie French or some of these other guys, as the dog will not leave me alone? No, I think Ohio State, just based on the numbers in the wide receiver room, is going to have to take a big class. You lose guys like Noah Rogers along the way. You lose Julian Fleming along the way. And because of that, you do need to bring more guys in. You look at the star total in the wide receiver room, you're like, oh, well, they're fine. Well, we know this is the end of the line for Emeka Egbuka after the season. We're going to be getting toward the end of the line for some more guys. So there's the necessity there. So I think both of these guys out, just to lump them together, I think it was a huge get for what really was an exciting 4 days of Ohio State recruiting to get, 4 blue chip type of players.
Yeah. The Jones, I'm with you, Kevin. He's a slot guy. So that takes the Boggs thing and puts him there. The Stewart, he's playing corner, could play safety, and in the Ohio State defense, if you're going to play one safety, you kind of need to be able to play all 3 safeties. So if you're bringing in a corner, that's kind of an ideal fit for that. Like a Jordan Hancock, formerly a corner, plays nickel, can still play corner. And that corner or that nickel position in Ohio State's defense, if the offense shifts, then that nickel moves to a deep safety. So you have to be able to handle that. And the strong safety, if there's a shift, becomes that slot guy. So, and we know Caleb Downs has been playing some in the slot. He's been playing all 3 of the safety positions. So if you can get a 6'2", 190-pound corner that can do those things, and then you got to try it, and you bring in as many as you can each year. And same thing at receiver, because they brought in 2 guys last year and they were trying for 4. So that's, you hit on half of the ones you wanted. So you need to catch up on that. And you lost 2 guys to the portal, but Noah Rogers specifically, and you've lost 2 of your 4 guys in 2022 to the portal, and they have yet to do anything. So who knows what's going to happen there? So you're going to have to continue to get 4 and 5 guys in the class and receiver and in the defensive backfield, because you just never know where those guys are going to play, and you need as many as you can, especially now when you bring in 5 or 6 every year, but you lose 2 or 3 every year, whether it's to the portal or to graduation or to the NFL.
Yeah, I like those 2 guys from DePaul Catholic. Obviously very competitive football there in New Jersey. And I think that Ohio State's done really well with guys from the East Coast in this recent run, this last decade, really. So I want to see that continue. Obviously, if you're pulling for Ohio State, I would think the other 2 guys they got over this weekend, both from Florida, Tarvis Alford, a linebacker from Vero Beach, and London Merritt from Bradenton IMG Academy. Both outstanding prospects. Tarvis Alford, they worked really, really hard to land him, and they beat some really good schools for him as well. I think Tennessee was in there, Florida State, and Miami. All 3 were really high on his list, but James Laurinaitis closed the deal on Tarvos Alford, and he's one of the higher ranked linebackers that Ohio State has recruited in recent memory. Number 53 overall, number 7 linebacker, and number 7 overall in the state of Florida in the 6'2", 215 range, and can just run and make plays, has a good length as well, which is important as well. So I can't think of anything bad to say about Tarvos Alford other than, maybe he's a talent upgrade at linebacker for Ohio State, which has kind of struggled. CJ Hicks obviously was a top recruit there a few cycles ago as well. So now Sonny Styles is playing linebacker, although he was recruited as a defensive back. So, I think that Ohio State is back in the blue chip business at linebacker. And if somebody wants to pick it up and talk about London Merritt, I can lay out for a second on that if somebody has any special thoughts about him.
Yeah, London Merritt, originally out of Atlanta, Woodward Academy, a school that's produced a lot of talent through the years, transfers to IMG Academy for his final year. I think a lot of Ohio State fans were a little nervous when he made that move because nobody really controls IMG Academy recruiting in terms of it is not a feeder school to Ohio State or to Alabama or to Georgia or to whoever. Players come from all over the nation to go to IMG, and then they kind of, are scattered into the wind. So you bring him there. Does he get around other players who talk up other schools? Well, he always seemed to be very much enamored with the idea of playing for Larry Johnson, playing at Ohio State. And the Buckeyes were able to maintain that. He's a very talented, player in his own right. And I saw him on the Saturday Student Appreciation Day, and I think he's gotten bigger since like the last time I've seen him. I mean, he's listed at about 6'3", 250 according to these 247 rankings that Mark has up here right now. He's really starting to fill in, and I think he's going to be somebody who will see early playing time, especially with what I expect the roster to kind of look like for the 25 season when you lose guys like JT and Jack, and you have guys like Kenyatta and Caden having to make decisions of what their futures are going to be and things like that. So I think of the London Merritt, we can go through all 4 of these guys. I think in a lot of ways, just based on Ohio State missing its defensive end number the last 2 years, and not only missing it, but missing it badly. I think London Merritt may be the most important of the 4. That's not saying that I'm saying he's better than the other 3 or whatever, but I just think for roster continuity and the way that you build a team, I think that London Merritt commitment is the most important of the 4.
So, Kevin, playing off something you said about Alford and Buckeye fans being a little bit nervous when he transitioned to high schools, I'm going to ask the age-old question about he and Merritt being Florida-connected guys, whether that's Vero Beach or that's IMG Academy, and, of course, players flocking from all over the country there. But that age-old question about Ohio State getting commits out of Florida.
Well, with Merritt, I mean, Merritt's the one who transferred. I mean, he's a Georgia kid in Florida, so I don't see him being loosey-goosey in terms of, he's just a South Florida kid. You just don't know. He's going to play around with his process and everything else. I think London Merritt is pretty solid. And then when you look at TJ Alford, I think that, Vero is on the Atlantic side of the state, probably still, it's north of West Palm Beach. So we're really not in South Florida territory for, just what we like to talk about, but keep an eye on University of Florida. I think University of Florida really kind of was the team to beat at one point early on. It has been just an abject disaster in Gainesville as of late when it comes to recruiting and on-field performance and everything else. And is Billy Napier going to survive this season? If Florida puts together a good run this year, they're certainly going. Even if they put a bad run, they're going to keep on TJ Alford. But I think that if they put a good run together, it's something to watch. And I'm not trying to say somebody who just committed days ago is already on flip watch. But, I think that you would also be foolish not to be aware of where these potential pitfalls are coming from. But I don't think either of these guys are going to be playing the game per se, as much as some others that we've seen in the past. But Ohio State always recruits the state of Florida well. I mean, obviously that was the case under Jim Tressel. That was the case under Urban Meyer. Now continues to be the case under Ryan Day.